No. As concerns what some ask me, I won't be too long because my eyes hurt after reading a long time. Maybe I need reading glasses. What is written concerning Zionism, concerning the land of Israel in the last days, and I'll explain why I speak about the last days and so on. I'll show in just a while, but here's one interesting verse concerning Israel, the grand Israel that is to be. It says here, so shall ye divide this land unto you according to the tribes of Israel. Okay? If you look earlier, you'll see all the tribes being given and the borders that are to be given to them. Okay? Now, what it says here is, and it shall come to pass that ye shall divide it by lot for an inheritance unto you, and to the strangers that sojourn among you, which shall beget children among you, and they shall be unto you as born in the country among the children of Israel. They shall have inheritance with you among the tribes of Israel. And it shall come to pass, just got a little foggy. And it shall come to pass that in what tribe the stranger sojourneth, there shall ye give him his inheritance, saith the Lord. So what is that saying? What does that mean? Israel is divided by tribes. When it speaks about strangers, it's not, it's not Jews that were born abroad or that live abroad. No, a stranger is a stranger. When it speaks here about strangers are people that are not Jews, that are not of the tribes of Israel, that are not part of the 12 tribes of Israel. But in the grand Israel, what is written here is that they will inherit also. Okay? So in Zionism, at the end of all things, Ezekiel is a prophet that speaks about the end of all things. It also talks about the valley of dry bones, so the restoration of Israel, which we'll see in a little while, okay? But it says, and it shall come to pass that ye shall divide it for a lot. For a lot. Okay? So here you have it that non-Jews, people that are not of Israel, will be able to join with Israel, will have inheritance with Israel. So how can we say that Israel and Zionism is racism when non-Jews are called to inherit with the children of Israel? Even now in Israel, it's not exclusive, but it's inclusive, meaning no one is put aside, no one is put out, but everyone is accepted. In Israel right now, you have people that are Orthodox, you have people that are ultra-Orthodox, you have people that are Christian, you have people that are, if you want, Catholic, people that are Coptic, you have people that are, that are atheists, you have people that are agnostic, there are people that are Muslim, there are people that are Hindu, there are people that are Buddhist. You have all type of people living in Israel as we speak right now. And even at the end, so this is the end of Zionism. This is near in the last chapter of the prophet Ezekiel. Okay? You see, it's 48 chapters in Ezekiel. He's one of the last prophets. Okay, and Ezekiel here, well, the one that mentions mainly about the end of time, and it says here again, I'll read it again. So shall ye divide. So verse 21 is actually speaking about from the beginning of chapter 47, how it's said that the land will be divided. Okay, it says, so shall ye divide the land unto you according to the tribes of Israel, and it shall come to pass that ye shall divide it by lot for an inheritance unto you and to the strangers that sojourn among you, which shall beget children among you, and they shall be unto you as born in the country among the children of Israel, they shall have inheritance with you among you. Okay? Ouattara's wife is Israeli. Ouattara, you mean the new president of Ivory Coast? Well, at least that may show that at least she isn't a racist, huh? So whilst people say Jews are racist and so on, yeah, I know she's a Jew. I've seen her picture. She's Israeli, and Ouattara, if I remember, Ouattara is Alassane Ouattara, I think is his name, right? The Prime Minister of Ivory Coast. And as far as I know, he's an African Muslim, yet he's with an Israeli Jew. She's not converted to Islam, and they are married. So how do you explain that? You see, people only think of racism, and most of the times they think. That's all they seem to mention. Racism, nothing else. Nothing else. And again, I say, if you were born blind, how would you be a racist? And if you are a believer in any type of faith that's linked to Abraham, then you're not supposed to be a racist, because then you should hold that we all are descendants of Adam and Eve. You see what I'm saying? No. As far as the end of times and things like that, okay? That's one. Let me show you what is said now. What is said now, and even concerning the beginning of religions and so on. Let me show you what is said here. Ezekiel chapter 8. Yeah, Ezekiel chapter 8. Yeah, what happened? Aliyah, stop it. Behave yourself. Be nice, okay? Here's what is written in chapter 8 of Ezekiel. It says here, he said unto me, verse 13. He said unto me, turn ye yet again, and thou shalt see greater abomination that they do. Then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house, which was toward the north, and behold, there sat women weeping to Tammuz. If you know who is Tammuz, you can find out who is Tammuz, huh? Look it up. Then said he unto me, hast thou not seen this, O son of man? Turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations than these. And he brought me into, the way that this gets foggy does mess me up, into the court of the Lord's house, and behold, at the door of the temple of the Lord, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men, with their backs turned toward the temple of the Lord, and their face towards the east, and they worshipped the sun toward the east. Now, what does that say? If you look at where the temple was, on the Temple Mount, there are people that pray there. And these people turn their backs onto where even that mosque is, and they turn their heads and they bow towards where? So that should give you an idea of what religion started way back then. Way back then. Way back then. Some people want to claim it started with this prophet and it started with that book, but none at all. It started even way back then. Now, as concerning why, when I speak about the end of the world, let me show you something real quick. Joel, chapter 2, okay? Here's something very interesting you can find. I'm making quick, I'm not going to be long, that's why I'm showing the verses quick. Verse 29, and also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit. Well, verse 28, And it shall come to pass afterwards that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit, and I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. Now these are 5 different wonders. You have wonders in heavens and in the earth and blood and fire and pillars of smoke. So these are 5 different wonders. They're not all linked. Okay, the fire is one thing, the blood is another, the pillars of smoke another, signs in the heavens are another, and signs in the earth another. Okay. Now let me just draw your attention to at least one of the signs. It says here, and pillars of smoke. What is a natural pillar of smoke? A pillar of smoke in nature. What would that be? Then he goes on to say, the sun shall be turned into darkness. Your grandpa? Why should I ring up your grandpa? Why am I going to make an international call with your grandpa? I don't understand. So it says, the sun shall be turned . Okay, so you want me to call your grandfather? I'll try to look at the number and I'll call him up. What country is he in? What country is he in? Okay, now is he a believer, a non-believer, or what? I can call him up, but what should I tell him when I call? I'm trying to figure. No, I take everything seriously, huh? Yes. Yeah. I don't take anything lightly. I've had friends to die. I had people. I make jokes, but not jokes about serious things. Listen, flippers. Okay, he's a troll. Well, I'll see about that a little later then. Now, I'll continue. It says here, and the sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before that great and terrible day of the Lord come. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be delivered. For in Zion, that's what a lot of people don't see. In Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as the Lord hath said, and in the remnant whom the Lord shall call. Mind you, it doesn't mention remnant of Israel. Huh? It mentions remnants. Yes, we know it is to be a remnant of Israel, but it says remnant. So you have a couple of things here. One of the things, pillars of smoke. What is a pillar of smoke? What is a pillar? A pillar looks like what in nature? A pillar is actually a tower, right? What is a pillar of smoke in nature? What is a natural pillar of smoke? Fire, okay. Mount Zion, I'll tell you why it's Mount Zion in a while. A natural pillar of smoke, if you look now at what is going on, we have a lot of tsunamis, a lot of, tsunami warnings, but a lot of earthquakes. and a lot of a lot of volcanoes being active. Some new ones have become active, some new ones have appeared, and some old ones that you thought dead have become active right now. So pillars of smoke are actually volcanoes. So you have a lot of volcanoes active right now. The sun turned into darkness. Europe is not safe. Asia is not safe. The Middle East, excluding Israel, is not safe. The US is not safe. The Latin America is not safe. All of these places right now, what do you have? You have diseases starting in Africa. You have, be it man-made or not, you have diseases all over. Okay? I have a friend that told me 700 schools were closed just in one district in Texas because of a deadly flu. So you have deadly flus. Listen, those guys that made that movie, what was that? With Brad Pitt, I think it was, where there's like an end of the world disease or something, and everyone runs to Jerusalem for safety. You know where they took that? They took that from here. This is exactly where they took that from. So all will find deliverance in Zion, in Israel, in Jerusalem. No. Here's where it gets special, where you can know that these are the end times. This is the end of the world. No. Yes. Huh? Stop. Right. Now here's what Daniel says. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city. What is the holy city? Jerusalem, right? So 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city to finish the transgression and to make an end of sins and to make reconciliation for iniquity and to bring in everlasting righteousness and to seal up the vision and prophecy and to anoint the most holy. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the Prince shall be 70 weeks and 62 weeks, and the street shall be built again and the wall even in troublous times. Right now we have troublous times. A time of war is one thing, but a troublous time is something other. It's not a world war right now in the world, but there are troublous times because there's trouble in each country, in each region, in each city, in one way or another. You talk about invasion of rats and all those kind of things, come to Paris, and you see invasion of rats. You talk about droughts and fires and snowstorms and floods and earthquakes and tsunamis. Tell me that these are not troublous times. And weird hurricanes. Tell me these are not troublous times. And it says, and after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for him. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the war desolation determined. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. That is that prince, that wicked prince. And in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abomination he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation. And that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. So that is a prince which the Christians call the Antichrist. That is who will make war and prepare evil. But if you mind here, it says 70 weeks. Okay? 70 weeks. If you take the different ways of interpreting the Bible, okay? You can take it that a week is a year, or a week is a group of years. Or a week is really 7 days. There are different ways of interpreting different times of the Bible. But if you have to check the time that we're living in now, the time of the restoration of Jerusalem, meaning Jerusalem as part of Israel, the rebuilding of the nation of Israel started in 1948. Okay, as a people on their line. 1948 to 2018. How many years are these? 1948 to 2018. Can anyone calculate? 70 years. 1948 to 2018 are exactly 70 years. If we translate the weeks here, 70 weeks, into years, you see that in 70 years, Israel has not only become a living nation again, but a prosperous nation, a fruitful nation, a bountiful nation, a nation that surpasses a lot of others that were established long before it was reestablished. And hey, hey, don't play with me. Sit down. So they're reestablished. They're a beacon of light. They are a safe haven for many peoples, for many parts of the earth. 70 years, Israel has become what most nations dream. And it's a small land, 27,000 square kilometers. Why again do I say this at the end of times? Okay, so you have that 70 years, huh? Let me show you again what is said here in Zechariah. Here, take what is said here in Zechariah chapter 12. It said, "The burden of the word of the Lord for Israel, saith the Lord. The burden of the word of the Lord for Israel, saith the Lord, which stretcheth forth the heavens and layeth the foundations of the earth, and formeth the spirit of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about, and they shall be in the siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem." You tell me right now that everyone doesn't find one reason, one way, one manner of hating Israel. You tell me one. And if they say Jews, well, actually, here's the proof. When people say Jews, they really refer to all of Israel, huh? But that word Jews come from what? Come from Judah. So people are hating Judah, and right now, what's it said? There's a siege both against Judah, so call it against Jews, and against Jerusalem. So it is only normal that anti-Semitism has risen. It is normal. I'm not saying it's a good thing or acceptable, but it is normal that it has risen because it is according to Scripture. It's written right here. "I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about." So all the people round about, exactly. So all the people round about seem to be interested in Israel, seem to be interested in Jerusalem, and all the people round about the world seem to have an interest in Jews, Judah, and Zionism. And here's what it says. "And in that day I will make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people." What is a burden? Something heavy. No one knows how to resolve that conflict. It's been a long conflict. It's been a long problem. No one knows how to resolve it. It says, "And in that day I will make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people." So it's not just, hey, if you look around the world, there are religions that are concerned about Jerusalem and Israel. There are non-religious people that are concerned about the conflict, Jerusalem and Israel. There's all types of people from all corners, all walks of the earth, all levels, poor, rich, everyone seems to be weirdly concerned about Jerusalem and Israel. And it says here, all that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces. Meaning all the people that trouble Israel and that want trouble for Israel shall be what? Cut in pieces. Now, who is it said that cuts them in pieces? It doesn't say that Israel will cut them in pieces here. Hey, sit down and read your book. So it says here, a burdensome stone, and that stone will cut people in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. So it doesn't matter who attacks Israel and Jerusalem, though all the people be gathered against it, who will have trouble? Not Israel, but all the people. Okay? Now here's the rest. In that day, saith the Lord, I will smite every horse with astonishment, and his rider with madness. So all the people that are people really riding horses nowadays to attack? No. There are how you call that, tanks, there are Humvees, there are Jeeps, there are people that are in planes. What does that mean? The horse rider is one that comes to either deliver a message or make war. In this case, it is people that are going to come to make war. So what is it? Everyone that wants to attack Israel is full. That's why they're blind. If you read here, it says what? I will smite the riders with madness. They have become mad. All of them hate Israel, and there's no reasoning with them. They find and invent reasons to hate Judah and to hate Israel, to hate Jerusalem. It doesn't matter how illogical it may seem, they join in. They're all joined into one movement against Israel. And here it says, I will open my eyes upon the house of Judah and will smite every horse of the people with blindness. So that means even what leads them, even what carries them, will be blindness. So not only are they mad, but they're also blind. A blind person you can lead, but if he's mad, there's no leading him. A mad person may see, but here you see that these mad people are also blind. So there's nothing you can do for them. There's nothing you can do to change their minds. We can try, but there's nothing to be done. The mad and blind will stay mad and blind. And it says, and the governors of Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Je vais le faire en français tout à l'heure. J'essaie, pour ceux qui comprennent l'anglais, je vais le faire en français tout à l'heure. It says, and the governors of Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall be my strength in the Lord of hosts, their Lord. And in that day I will make the governors of Judah like an hearth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in sheaves. And they shall devour all the people round about, on the right hand and on the left. And Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her place, in her own place, even in Jerusalem. Now, you may find that this last part of that verse is mad. But understand it well. It says, and Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. How can you remove Jerusalem from Jerusalem? It says inhabited again in her own place in Jerusalem. How can you remove Jerusalem from Jerusalem? Is that possible? If I remove Paris and put it in Toulouse, it's still Toulouse. Paris is Paris. You can't move Paris and put Paris in Toulouse. If I remove New York and try to put it in Texas, Texas is Texas. You can't remove New York and put it in Texas. New York is New York. Texas is Texas. You can't remove one town and put it in a place of the... How do you do that? How is that possible? Madness and blindness, huh? How is that possible? That's impossible. But actually, that is what people are trying to do. When you look at the votes of United Nations and the vote of UNESCO and all of that, that is Zechariah chapter 12. Zechariah chapter 12. Here, Zechariah. Je vais refaire en français tout à l'heure. Je reviens, je vais le faire en français tout à l'heure. Je mets le titre en anglais pour lorsque je parle aux anglophones et je vais mettre en français quand je parle aux francophones. Parce que les anglophones me reprochent de ne rien faire en anglais. Donc, bien que j'ai beaucoup d'haineux contre moi, mais bon, il y a des gens qui cherchent. Continue, next page. Continue. Mais il y a des gens qui aiment bien ce que je fais. Certains trouvent que je suis un fou, mais certains trouvent que je suis lucide. Donc, comme ils trouvent que je suis lucide, ils me demandent, donc je fais. Donc là, so here you see, and Jerusalem shall be inhabited in her own place, even in Jerusalem. So right now you have UNESCO and all of that trying to remove United Nations, all of them, either trying to divide Jerusalem or trying to remove the history of Jerusalem or trying to remove the link of Jerusalem to the Jews. Okay, Pixel. So what is that saying? That is saying here that they're trying to remove Jerusalem from her own place. They're trying to remove Jerusalem from a place historically. They're trying to remove, when you split Jerusalem in two, you're removing Jerusalem from a place geographically because it's split. So they're trying to remove Jerusalem from Jerusalem in many ways. You see? They're trying to remove Jerusalem from Jerusalem. And it says here, the Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first. So again, when people say Jews, 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 they hate Jews, they hate Jews. Again, I say all of Israel is not Judah. But the reference is made to Jews. And Jews descend from, Jews are a tribe of Israel. Jews are really Judah. But the name of Jews is really used to determine the whole of Israel nowadays. So that means they hate Judah in essence. So they hate Jews. So that's why it's said here, and the Lord also, why is it that the predominant name for Israel is not Simeonites or Levites or Danites or Gadites? But the main name that is used to refer to the children of Israel right now, nowadays, is Jews. Linked to this name, this name, Judah. So that's why the Lord says, the Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first, and the glory of the house of David, and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. Okay, let me try. You have another pen there? Let me try and see. Let me get a pen real quick. Let me get a pen. No, I'll take one. Let me get one. Let me get one of mine. All right, give me a second. Nothing. All right. Let me try to get a pen real quick. So here's what I was saying right here. I'm trying to see if the Zoom will come back. C'est ma gorge. J'ai des allergies. So here we read. Excuse-moi, désolé. So here we read, and it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to what? Destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. And I will pour out upon the house. Je refais en français tout à l'heure. Je refais en français. Je te promets, je fais en français dans un instant. Je vais pas être long. It says, I will pour out Uh, that is chapter 12 of Zechariah. So I will pour upon the house of David. Exactly, yep. And upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplications. And said here, and they that shall look upon me, whom they have pierced, and they that shall mourn for him, as one mourneth. Yeah, that's a promise. Shall be in bitterness for him, as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. In that day shall there be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as the mourning of Hadad Rimon in the valley of Megiddo. So that's what? You know what Megiddo is? What is Megiddo? You ever heard of the Battle of Armageddon? Armageddon. That battle will happen in a place called Megiddo. I have been to Megiddo. Exactly, Armageddon. That is where you get that word Megiddo. No. It's in Israel. Huh? That place is, you can go in the valley of, what's it called? There's a place, that Hadad Rimon Valley, there's another name for it. But I've been there. I've been to that place that is called Megiddo, or Megaddon, where you'll have actually that battle of Armageddon. It's in a low valley, and it said there'll be so much blood that it will rise up to a horse's mouth. So much blood. I mean pure blood, huh? Not water, just pure blood. So much blood will be shed there. And it says, and the land shall mourn every family apart, the family of the house of David apart, and their wives apart, and the family of the house of Nathan apart, and their wives apart. Why does it say that? You have one part here, it says by family. The family of David. What is David? David is called the royalty, the king. And it says, and the wives apart. And the family of the house of Nathan apart. What is Nathan? Who is Nathan? Nathan was a prophet, but also there's another Nathan that was the son of King David. So meaning every family will have a part to play. Every family will have a judgment. Every family will cry. Every family will be judged by individual, will be judged by family, will be judged by ethnicity, will be judged by groups, by nation, by kingdom. That's how we'll be judged. Different levels of judgment for each one. And it says the family of the house of Levi apart. Who are Levi? Levi are the priests. And their wives apart. And the family of Shimei. Who was Shimei? Apart. And their wives apart. And the families that remain. Let me try to get the Zoom going. Every family apart and their wives apart. And if you wonder why they are apart, look at what is going on right now. No one will be able to blame anyone. Right now, you have a lot of women. I'm not saying that there aren't sexists. I'm not saying that this isn't a male-dominated world. I'm not saying that there are not people that have sexually abused women and so on. Okay? Sexual harassment and all. But here, everyone will be apart and judged apart. Why? One won't be able to blame the other. Shimei won't be able to blame Nathan. Nathan won't be able to blame David. David won't be able to blame Levi. And their wives won't be able to blame them. Everyone judge for himself. Everyone judge for himself. Here, let me show you where again, what will happen. Okay? Chapter 14. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh. Now, the day of the Lord is what is known as the end of the world. And thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle. So he's the one that's going to do it. When people say, hey, Nicholson, you're a wicked man, you're dividing people. I'm not dividing people. If you look here, you'll see what division is. I'm not dividing people. They say I'm divided. I'm speaking truth. And the truth, well, as far as I can see, that I'm speaking truth. I may be wrong. I could be a liar. I could be a fool. I could be a wicked man. But as far as I know, I'm speaking truth. Okay? Here, what is said, he will gather all nations. Okay? Against Jerusalem. So if he's gathering them against Jerusalem, that means there is a division between. Some people are saying, yeah, make peace between Jews and the rest, make peace between Israel and the rest, make peace between. No, it's not possible. It's not possible. It says, I will gather all nations against, right here, all nations against Jerusalem to battle. So that means everyone will come against. They're not united with Israel. They're not united with Jerusalem. It's not a peace deal. They're not united with the children of Israel. No, they're against. So it's a division. They're coming against. They're coming to fight. And so whilst they're coming to fight, each one will receive retribution for what he's done. It says, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and the half of the city shall go forth into captivity. And the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations. When has that? Some people want to say, yeah, that's the past. No, that's not the past, that's the future. When has the Lord risen to fight against nations? When? And when have all, yeah. What? Go on, PP. Kami, you finish? Go and lie down, You look sleepy, go and lie down. Go on, PP. Give me 1 second, Let me take care of my kid quick. 1 second and I'll be back. Alia, why you do that, Alia? Why? Who that do it? But this I tell you to leave it. So you touch it. And it's what disobedience do. So you should have obeyed and not done that. You hear me? Next time, obey. Sorry. Okay, so here it is. Huh? It says here, you got the Zoom going good again. I'm all right in you. So it says, then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives. Where's the Mount of Olives? Well, it says right here, if you think it's stupidness, when people say Israel is in Africa, well, that's where you have a problem, because where's Jerusalem in Africa? Which part? Where? Where is the Salt Sea or the Dead Sea in Africa? You see? It's not because I'm black that I'm going to be foolish and just accept foolishness. And no, listen, it doesn't have to be pleasing to me. Truth is truth. It doesn't have to be pleasing to me. Wickedness is wickedness, huh? Exactly. So here you go. I'm trying to get the Zoom working. And it says, oh man, the Zoom thing is messed up. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem. Let me see how I can get this going. Which is before Jerusalem, on the east, and on the Mount of Olives shall, on the Mount of Olive shall cleave in the midst thereof towards the east and towards the west. And there shall a very mighty great valley, and there shall be a very mighty great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half toward the south. Now, if you go to Jerusalem right now, you won't see that the Mount of Olive is split in half. It's impossible for you to see that or for you to say that. You cannot say that the Mount of Olive is split in half. If you go there right now, you won't see that. So that means that all these things are to come in the future. It's not past and it's not yet present, but it's coming very soon. Okay, it's coming very soon. And if you look at, like I said, Zechariah chapter 12, the verses, I just saw them a while ago. I just showed you a while ago. If you look at why will it be in Jerusalem, why would it be? It says, Jerusalem, where was I? Coming here. Yes, the Old Testament. Zechariah chapter 12. So what I was saying is written right here. And Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. So if you look, like I said, UNESCO, United Nations, and all of these peoples, all of these organizations, the Palestinians, the this, the that, all of them want to divide Jerusalem. All of them want to remove Jerusalem from its place theologically, historically, symbolically, geographically, by splitting and dividing Jerusalem in two. They'll be divided. They're trying to divide Jerusalem in each and every way possible. In each and every way possible. Yeah, literally. Yeah. So that's what's going on. And then you have here, what we were reading in chapter 14. And ye shall flee to the valley and the mountains, for the valleys of the mountain shall reach unto Azal. And ye shall flee like as you fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah. And the Lord my God shall come with all the saints with thee, and all the saints with thee. Well, what should I not take literally? When they're speaking about geography here, is that not literal? When they speak about Jerusalem here, is that not literal? It mentions King Uzziah. Wasn't he a king? Isn't that not literal? You see what I'm saying? When it speaks about a mountain being split in two, is that not literal? Now, mind you, it says here, before the great earthquake. So that says what? When you see a big one happen, yeah, a lot has happened since then, yes, but what will happen? It's, if we believe prophecy, we believe it fully, or we don't believe at all. Okay? It will happen again. It has things, all that is said in prophecy will happen. It's not all metaphors. There's nothing metaphoric here. We haven't seen anything metaphoric yet in these two chapters. So how can it be not literal? You see what I'm saying? So mind you here, it says, as in the great earthquake. So what does that say? That says that if you see now we're having a lot of great earthquakes all over. That says that there'll be another great earthquake, a big one coming. Then you'll know for sure. Then you'll see for sure. Because as we read in Joel, there'll be signs in the heavens, signs in the earth. There'll be blood. What does an earthquake do? Doesn't the earthquake shed blood? Don't tsunamis shed blood? Doesn't volcanic eruption shed blood? Do not storms, be it snowstorms, be it floods, be it how you call it, hurricanes and typhoons, do they not shed blood? They shed blood. So there will be blood and fire. Listen, you look at California ravaged by fire. You look at different parts of Europe ravaged by fire. You see? So there is blood. Blood will be shed and is shed. I didn't see the last comment though. So there will be bloodshed. There is bloodshed. And it says, it shall come to pass in that day that the light shall not be clear nor dark, but it shall be one day which shall be known to the Lord. No, I'm not saying every time that it happens, it's God that's doing it. Huh? What I'm saying is there are judgment, but the judgment is not due to what the Lord has done. The judgment is due to what we are doing. And it said here, it shall be known of the Lord, not day nor night, but even shall come to pass at the even time, and it shall be light. And in that day, written right here, and in that day it shall be in that day that the living waters shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them toward where? The former sea, and the half toward the hinder sea. In the summer and in the winter shall it be. Then what do you have also written? Here it says, and the Lord shall be the king over all the earth. In that day shall there be one Lord, and his name one. So right now, the peoples of the earth are not taking his name as one. They're not taking him as one Lord. No. There are many divisions, many inconsistencies, many theological teachings that are erroneous. Much evil that is going on. And it says, and all the land shall be turned as a plain from Geba to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem, and it shall be lifted up, and the inhabitants of her place, let me get the zoom in, going good. From Benjamin's gate unto the place of the first gate, unto the corner gate, and from the tower of Hananel unto the king's winepress. And men shall dwell in it, and there shall no more be utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited. So it is coming. Although people will attack and try to destroy, half of Jerusalem will be pulled away, but at the end, Jerusalem will be safely inhabited. Then it says here, and this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. And their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue consume away in their mouths. So you want to talk about a virus? You haven't seen anything yet. You think men can make bad viruses? You haven't seen anything yet. You haven't seen. If you want to talk about Ebola, AIDS, the bird flu, and no, all of that is nothing exactly. Listen, we have flesh-eating diseases now that we cannot solve. They are flesh-eating diseases. What if that referred to the Roman conquest? Nope. It can't be the Roman conquest. Why? Because is Mount Olivet split right now? Mount Olivet, is it split? Does the water run from the Mount Olivet? Is Mount Olivet split between east and west, and water run from the south to the east? Meaning even until the Dead Sea? because it said that the Dead Sea will be filled with fishes again. So here is what it says. A plague that will consume people that have fought against Jerusalem, that have fought against Israel. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day, a great tumult from the Lord shall be among them, and they shall hold everyone on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. So that means the people you have as friends now, well, it will split. Trust me, it will split. It says that there'll be a great earthquake. It will split. But that day might be too late for you. Because if you look here, there will be plagues. And not only plagues, meaning the person you may trust as a neighbor may fail you. It says here, neighbors will be fighting neighbors. They shall lay hold everyone on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. So that means the person you trust, normally we're supposed to live good as neighbors, huh? But your neighbor will be against you, so what will you do? It'll probably be too late for you. And if you don't live in Israel, for sure it will be too late for you. You see? Here's the rest. It says here, and Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in abundance. And so shall be the plague of the horse and of the mule and of the camel and of the ass and of all the beasts that shall be in these tents as these plagues. And it says, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations will come against Jerusalem, which came against Jerusalem, shall even go up from year to year to worship the king. Well, literally, there are certain things you take literally, but certain things you cannot take literally. But a lot of it is literal. A lot of it is not just left to interpretation. Because don't believe that the Lord will leave everything to be literal. It'll be just confusion. Everyone can interpret how they want. What you're reading here is not literal. Is not left to interpretation. It is literal. If it was left to just being, if it was not literal, everyone would say as they please, how they please, when they please. That's why you have a lot of cults. A lot of people have said the world will end then, the world has ended then, and all these nonsense. No, they haven't learned their lesson. They're just waiting for me to do it in French because most of them don't speak English. So they're ashamed now. But again, one of the things is that the threats that they've made right now, the police is on their tail. So they're kind of afraid. So it says here, and all of these beasts that shall be in these tents as this plague. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year. I'm okay, and you? I'm okay, Super Eagle. So I'll come up to worship the King and the Lord of hosts and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So that means those that are left will come to worship. If Zionism, if you will, or things of the Bible or things of Israel were against strangers completely, and you can see what I said in the beginning. If I have to repeat, it'll be too long. So I'm not going to repeat what I said in the beginning. The confusion comes when what? When they're not turned what? I didn't read the last sentence. But if you see here, all families, everyone will be able to come. So it's not to say that it'll be just Jews and Jews dominate and this and that. No, everyone will be able to come. Everyone will be able to worship. Everyone will have their place. Everyone will find their place. There'll be no one put out. And realize it doesn't say that Israel will go out to fight people. It says that people that come to fight Israel will be killed. It doesn't say that Israel and Zionists and Jews and Christians will go out to fight people. No, it says that all that come to fight against Israel, they will receive their retribution. I say King Bibi, but Netanyahu is not the king, no. Unless he proves a direct lineage to King David. But for now, he kind of represents the king. Okay, now you say they're kicking people out. It's not wrong. Which country isn't kicking people out right now? Law is law. Justice is justice. Righteousness is righteousness. If the people are there illegally, that's a problem. Those that are there legally, that's no problem. But either way, let me tell you why it's being done also. There are some people that are living there, I have met, I've seen, I've heard, and that really need to be kicked out, okay? And there will be more kicked out in times to come. Exactly. So what will happen? They'll be kicked out. Why? Can we go in to live? No, but listen, let me tell you why. Even I'm a Christian. As a Christian, it said that the sheep and the goat will be divided. Even in Israel, there were divisions done, okay? There were people, even Joshua said, those that are for me will be with me, and those that are not for me, what will happen to them? So there must be that weeding. The wheat and the tares, there must be a separation. Separations will come. They are true and they will come. But imagine if we go and live and join all together and live in Israel, and that there are bad people living there. If there's no separation, what will happen to us? What will happen? There'll be, again, pollution in the land. There'll be, again, killing and stealing and raping and all these things and hatred in the land, no? Do you agree with me or not? Everything needs to be purified. Even the Lord says he's a purifying fire. So he purifies, he separates. You see what I'm saying? All Jews are supposed to be there. All Jews. And even non-Jews. Let me show you where I just showed. That's why I said I don't want to start over the whole study. But let me show you something quick. Okay? Which I showed a while ago. It's not only Jews that will be there. There will also be non-Jews. This is what is written. Okay? So shall ye divide the land unto you according to the tribes of Israel. So the tribes of Israel will already divide the land, okay? And it shall what? It shall come to pass that ye shall divide it by lot for an inheritance unto you and to the strangers that sojourn among you. So it doesn't matter who it is. It says, which shall beget children among you, and they shall be unto you as born in the country among the children of Israel, and they shall have inheritance with you among the tribes of Israel. And it shall come to pass that in what tribe the stranger sojourneth, there shall ye give him his inheritance, saith the Lord. So I just came back just to share that verse, okay? So that means everyone will be able to live together. Jew or non-Jew. I'll clean it because I tell her not to do it, I'll clean it. Jew, non-Jew, everyone will be able to live together. It's not saying that people will become Jews. It's saying that the non-Jew will live with the Jew. Even there's a verse, let me see if I can get it quickly. If I can get it quickly, I'll show you. Skirt, I'll get it. Do they control the whole Jews belong there? And write that again. Do they control the whole Jews belong there? I didn't see that. Because I was looking for something already in my concordance quick. I didn't see that last comment. But let me show you what will happen also. Let me show you what will happen. When you're talking about non-Jews and Jews and what will happen. JK. Let me show you 1 second, huh? Let me find a verse quickly. Certain time after reading, my eyes start getting dull and dim, especially with the lighting. So it's taking me a little time. Just give me 1 second. Okay, Zechariah 8. Let me show you quickly what Zechariah 8 says. And this is where I was. I was in Zechariah. Zechariah 8:33. I already answered the question in the title. What was the answer to what question I put in the title? Here's what it said. Zechariah 8, verse 23, I think. Okay, here it is, right here. Yea. Let me even begin from a little earlier. And the word of the Lord of hosts came unto me, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the fast of the month forth, is there a link between Zionism and racism and the end of the world? Okay, well, the rise of Zionism shows that the end of the world is coming. Now, Zionism is not what is negative. Zionism is not what is negative. Okay? But now there is racism, as you can see, because everyone will be attacking Judah. If you look at anytime there's rise of anti-Semitism, there's rise of different hatred all around the world. And as you can see, the rise in anti-Semitism has brought a rise in how you call that? In hatred. People that hate blacks hate whites, whites hate blacks, blacks hate blacks, blacks hate Hispanics, Hispanics hate blacks, Arabs hate blacks, blacks hate Arabs, Chinese hate blacks, blacks hate Arabs, whites hate Chinese, Chinese hate... It's all divided all over. It's a mess. You tell me that it's not a mess with racism right now. Okay, so here's the rest. I'll try to get that clear.